who's the champ of foolish fame? Let's crown the buffoon of the week by name. Comic crown and a goofy streak. The title goes to our champ this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between, class is back in session. Welcome back to Buffoonology 101. I almost forgot the name of the show, but I didn't. Gene Baradelli and Ross Galloway here with you. We do too many shows, pal. They're all running together.
I'm exhausted.
I don't know. Listen, we're on a wild ride here, and more and more people. What is that?
No, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt your flow.
More and more people are showing up to Buffoonology 101, attending every week to choose the Buffoon of the Week, our dubious distinction that we give to the dumbest newsmaker of the week. And last week, it was a close race for a while. Like the first day, it was neck and neck. But at the end of the week, we have a declared winner, and that winner is Michelle Obama. Ross Galloway's pick earned 66.3% of the vote. 2/3 to 1/3. Galloway beat me. It's his second win in a row, pal. Congratulations. You did it.
So, Gene, as you well know, I've been here for years, bro. Don't call it a comeback. That was a landslide.
That was an 80s reference. Just saying. So let me
landslide. What's the total now? You're up 3-2 so far?
I'm up 3-2. Yes, you're on a 2-game winning streak. Let me give some of the people the numbers of this. This was, once again, for the 5th week in a row, the biggest turnout for Buffoonology 101 on YouTube, on X, on buffoonoftheweek.com. Miscellaneous in the comments across social media. 113 votes, the first triple-digit turnout for Buffoonology 101. And you guys also turned out across platforms, giving us over 3,300 views for the week to determine who was the dumbest newsmaker of the week.
I mean, I think they liked it.
Now, pal, just so you know, there were some votes I couldn't count because the comments were, both of these are buffoons. I can't choose between them. We need to talk about that for a second. Are we going to count one for you, one for me, just to up the vote total? That seems to be the buffoonish way.
No, I'm just glad that you're being honest, because I would have thought like a hanging Chad. In that case, you would have just took the vote for yourself.
Damn, I should have. But listen, no, I'm too honest of a guy. I'm too honest when it comes to my buffoonery. What can I say? So once again, for now, this is going to be, I guess, the 3rd week in a row. No, the 2nd week in a row. 2nd week in a row. You're in control of the action. You get to decide who goes first. So is it going to be you or me starting us off here?
I think part of the secret to my success is me going first, coming out swinging. So I'm going to take the lead again.
Okay, so before you begin, let's remind everybody about the rules to this wacky game show we call Buffoonology 101. Before the show, Ross and I have each selected our nominee to present to you for Buffoon of the Week. Each host will have 5 minutes to make their case to you as to why their nominee should earn your vote. The first 2 minutes will be uninterrupted by the other host, but after that, it's a free-for-all between the two discussing the nomination. The opposing host will then evaluate the nominee based on the criteria set forth in my award-winning best-selling book, Schnooks, Crooks, Lies, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, available right now on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores.
This guy is a grifter!
The nominee will then be given a score for buffoonish nature and buffoonish action magnitude on our Sharpton Buffoonery Matrix, but more on that later. After that, we do it all over again for the other nominee. After all the nominees have been weighed and measured, each host will then have 1 minute to plead and beg for your vote for Buffoon of the Week. You'll get to vote online in the comments and on social media and at buffoonoftheweek.com. Vote early and vote often. No one's going to be counting whether you voted more than once. And now, back to the action. Now, I should mention as well that there's one rule I think we left out and that people have been asking about in the comments, pal. Why hasn't Donald Trump been nominated? Why hasn't Joe Biden been nominated? Why hasn't Kamala Harris been nominated? Well, mainly because we said they're not nominated. That's one thing. But when it comes to a sitting president or a former president or a sitting vice president or a former vice president, those nominees are ineligible. And the reason for that is they would just skew the results. As soon as you see Donald Trump's name, all the trolls are going to come out and vote for Donald Trump. As soon as you see Joe Biden's name, Joe Biden is the automatic winner. It's not really conducive to the pseudoscience. And that's why we typically don't nominate them. We consider them Buffoonicus emeritus. They're always buffoons.
Well, I'm glad you said pseudoscience because I don't know how scientific any of this really is.
I've never not said pseudoscience. What are you accused? You know what? You win a couple, and all of a sudden you're starting to get a little too big for your britches, pal.
I'm gonna have to write a book. I can feel it.
Yeah. Are you ready to go here or what?
Let's go, Gene. Set the clock for me, please.
All right.
My nominee this week, I'm going to get the name out quick, and then we're going to watch a little video, and then I'm going to explain why. Sean P. Diddy Combs. And I'll explain why in a minute, Gene. I found a loophole in your little game here. Play the video for me, please.
If this man is elected, we're not standing by no more getting killed. We're not scared of anybody standing up and standing by. We're on the verge of a race war. White men like Trump need to be banished. That way of thinking, it's real dangerous. When you look at it, we don't have no choice. You know what I'm saying? You can say what you want about Biden. I can't say I love the pick either, but hey, we got to get him in office, and then we got to hold him accountable.
All right, so Gene, you nominated Sean Penn not long ago, right? I figured out this game now. It doesn't matter about the scores we give them. You can beat me every week on the score. It doesn't matter, right? I give the people what they want. Sean P. Diddy Combs. First of all, this guy used to be called Puff Daddy, was he not? I don't really follow pop culture, but I think he used to be called Puff Daddy. He endorsed Joe Biden, so he is in the political sphere here. He wanted to start a black political party. Definitely, qualifies for a Buffoon of the Week, and he's relevant in the news now, obviously, right? Let me just say how stupid it is to start a black political party. If you count everyone who claims to be black and mixed with something else, that's 14% of the population. If you count only people who are only black, that's 12.4% of the population. To start a party that's a black political party, pretty dumb idea, right? He does, or is accused of, doing freak-offs. He's being charged federally, by the way. Where was New York? Some of these activities took place in New York. He allegedly beat women. There's a video of it, so I don't know how alleged that is. Sex trafficking, drugs, prostitution, and the testimony that was in federal court for the last couple of days has been so graphic that it's too graphic to even read any of it here on YouTube or we'll get banned. Every deviant reprobate is somehow affiliated with the Democratic Party, whether it's Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, or Sean Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy Combs. And he happens to be a racist. Come at me, Gene.
What did he do this week to merit the nomination?
What did he do this week? He's sitting at a defendant's table.
Exactly. He's sitting on his ass doing nothing. He's sitting in jail doing nothing. He has done nothing to merit Buffoon of the Week.
You
Galloway.
nominated
That clip that you clipped, the clip, I can't even talk straight. I've been biting my lip here this whole time. The clip you chose, that's from 2020. That's from 4 years ago.
Gee, you got some nerve.
Anything.
You nominated Letitia James for a crime she allegedly committed back in 2020.
There was news about her being investigated.
There was news about it. There's news about P. Diddy
We
this
responded
week.
to that news. No.
I'll let the voters decide, Gene. He's eligible. I'm using your loopholes against you.
A loophole. What loophole did I use? What are you talking about?
He even has a category in your book, and when we get to scoring, he's in here.
Oh, he's got lots of categories in the book. That's absolutely correct. I agree with that. I agree he's a buffoon. I agree he's an irredeemable buffoon. I agree he's a radioactive buffoon and every other type out there. He's the culture warrior. He's the irredeemable. There's a whole bunch out there. But it's, again, I ask you, what did he actively do this week to merit this nomination? He sat in the courtroom, did nothing as testimony from the prosecutions going on. He literally did nothing to earn this. Buffoon of the Week is an earned title. I will not let this stand. If I got to pull some chicanery myself here.
Oh, Gene, bring it on. Letitia James didn't do anything the week you nominated her. She was accused of something in the past.
Not true. She responded to the allegations.
You can't tell the good audience members that P. Diddy is not the buffoon of the week. You can't.
Oh, absolutely, I can. He didn't do anything to earn it.
Well, let them decide.
When the trial goes on next week, is he going to be buffoon of the week then too? Is he going to
possibly
again?
If something else crazy comes up, maybe, yeah. Why not?
Okay, all right, fine. What crazy came up? Tell me the crazy that came up. You can't say it because nothing really crazy came up. Stuff that was already out there came up.
Escorts urinate on his girlfriend in her mouth.
That was already out there.
It's in a federal court right now. The guy is going to go to jail.
It's a state court, you buffoon. You're a buffoon here.
No, he's not in a state court. He's not being charged by New York. He's being charged federally.
But he's in New York City. You're right. I'm a buffoon on that one. You got me on that one. Fine.
Come on.
You know what? I'm so ramped up here. You're cruising. You're cruising for it, Galloway.
I'm guaranteeing the win this week. Last week I wasn't so sure. This week it's a guarantee. Locked.
Yes, well, we'll see about that.
So that's Galloway's pick. Whatever. But we have to score it. I mean, even though I can't stand what he's trying to do to this game, trying to make this about wins and losses instead of the science itself, we do have to measure it. And we measure it with our trademark Sharpton Buffoonery Matrix. And to do all that, we need to educate you about how that works. And you need to know it's about two things: the buns and the bams. Let's talk buns.
My buns!
No, not those. And definitely not those. I'm talking about our personal buffoonish nature. A decade of collective observations has shown that everyone, to some degree, has a bun. You, me, everybody. The size of their buns is directly related to a buffoon's propensity to do stupid things.
Look at the size of that thing.
And then there's bam, bam, bam. Buffoonish action magnitude. That's our measurement of how big a whoopsie a buffoon made. The bigger the mistake, the greater the magnitude. We then plug these values into our Sharpton Buffoonery Matrix, named for the alpha and omega of buffoonery, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Modern problems require modern solutions,
which is our visual representation of a buffoon's bum to bam ratio. And here's the best part. After we tally up the worst offenders, you decide. You get to cast your vote, share your thoughts, and you determine who earns the dubious distinction of Buffoon of the Week, which will record as the weeks go by. All right, so it's on me to score Galloway's nominee here, Diddy. And as I said before, he's certainly a buffoon. Everything we've heard about these parties and the videos of him abusing women and all that, absolutely a completely irredeemable buffoon that I talk about in my book. He's radioactive. Everything he does infects other people and affects other people. He's certainly the most loathsome type of buffoon. Is that the person you were thinking about in the book, pal, that you wanted me to talk about?
Well, or the culture warrior, right? He's a celebrity turned towards politics at one point in his career. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. But I would think that that's subsumed by this radioactivity all around him right now, that nobody wants to be around him. No one wants to be associated with him. No one wants old photos of him coming up, much the same way that like Andrew Cuomo was when he was going through his scandals. So that's a high-ranked buffoonish nature. No doubt about it. In fact, I'm going to give it a 79. What do you think of that score?
That's a very fair score. I thought you were going to say he doesn't even qualify to be in the competition.
Well, buckle up, Galloway, to get a 0 for buffoonish action magnitude. A goose egg, garbanzo beans, nothing, nada, zip, 0. He earned nothing this week. There is no action to grade. It is a 0 magnitude buffoon nominee. You get nothing, sir. You touched the ceiling with your fizzy lifting drinks. It had to be washed and cleaned, and you get nothing. That's my score for buffoonish action magnitude. And you know what? I don't even care if you like it or not. I don't even care if you're going to go with it or not. The man did literally nothing except get called from a jail to go into a courtroom and sit down. That's it. There's nothing there. I'll let you get the last word if you want, but it don't matter.
No, I don't need it. I'm going to save my last word and just destroy you on my 1-minute plead.
Well, before you do that, it's going to be time for my nominee. And my nominee actually did something this week. So let me show you what an actual political buffoonery nominee looks like. I am nominating CNN's Jake Tapper. I'm not fitting into your narrative of going after women or minorities. I'm going after a straight white male who made political news this week. What was the biggest story of 2024? That was Joe Biden's feeble mind, feeble body, and his withdrawal from the campaign. And all that time, buffoons like Tapper were out there trying to gaslight you into believing that you shouldn't believe your own eyes and that you should listen to them instead. Open your minds and think like them. That's what Jake Tapper and his ilk wanted you to do from 2020 through 2024. Let's take a look back at what Jake Tapper was doing in gaslighting all of you, much the way that Galloway was doing just now.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no I can't. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally.
Yeah.
I think the question is physically, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him.
Exactly.
I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, "Shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster." Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff.
So after 4 years of that nonsense from Jake Tapper and people like him, but especially Jake Tapper, he goes and he writes a book about President Biden's decline and the cover-up behind it. The same thing that you and I and everybody else out there with a brain and eyes was talking about for years. He was out there denying it and gaslighting you, and then he writes a book to get to profit off of it once there's an opportune moment, and you can move Joe Biden off onto the ash heap of history. It's complete buffoonery. This hack is going to be making money off of lying to you. Are you going to allow that to happen without any sort of retribution at all? Jake Tapper is trying to justify his statements that you just saw, and thanks to Tom Elliott from Grabbian for putting that out there. His links in the description to see more of his stuff. But we're talking about political buffoonery and people acting this week. Jake Tapper's book tour is getting the backlash it deserves out there. He's gaslighting all of you, much like Galloway is gaslighting me in this video. This is your buffoon of the week, people. Do not let Ross Galloway destroy what you and I and he have built. Don't let it happen. This is a true nominee who actually did something this week. You want to talk? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me jump in here for a minute. Gene, this week he picked a straight white male. Okay, I'll give you that, I guess.
Listen, I haven't seen what he does behind closed doors.
Gene,
right?
Really lazy this week. Usually you work much harder than this. You picked a CNN host. Everybody, breaking news. CNN anchor Jake Tapper is a lying deep state Democrat.
You know what?
Breaking
Come on
news.
now. The fact that this book comes out, this is an audacity we have not seen even from a CNN host. The audacity of writing this book, talking to quote unquote insiders who knew all along what we've been saying all along, and then profiting off of this. The destruction of credibility here is permanent. This is permanent. Sometimes a CNN host can redeem themselves going somewhere else. Jake Tapper is completely irredeemable here in my eyes. Maybe it's the word of the show. I don't know. But come on, you have to realize the egregiousness of this sort of gaslighting, hypocrisy, and hackery.
Look, the man's not a doctor, man. He's an anchor on television. He couldn't diagnose Joe Biden on TV.
That's what you're going with? That's what you're going with.
I expected better of you, Mr. Burdelli.
So now you're gaslighting the audience. Forget about me. I got broad shoulders. I can deal with it. But you got to gaslight the audience, our friends, our subscribers. By the way, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe now. You're going to really like the stuff we do. Seriously? This isn't... You are insulting the good people who watch these videos. Last week, there were over 3,300 of them. Do you want 3,300 people showing up at your door? I can make that happen.
Listen, people, I got this in the bag. I don't want to hurt Gene's feelings any more than I have to this week.
I will not let you win this one. I swear to everything holy. If I got to stuff a box.
You're going to learn a hard lesson this week, Gene. A hard lesson.
No. The lesson's going to be learned by you that you are underestimating our audience, and I am standing up for our audience. And this just proves what I've been saying all along, people. Ross Galloway, cocky, duty, poopy head. He's trying to crap all over your parade. Don't let it happen. Jake Tapper is an ultimate hypocrite, ultimate hack, completely irredeemable. He is the man who has earned Buffoon of the Week this week.
That is tough. That's a tough one.
Gene, well played. I know I gave you some ribbing earlier. But to show you, like, I'm not the kind of guy you are, I'm not going to give a 0. I mean, that's crazy, right? Like, who does that to a friend? But all right.
Someone who actually gives a shit about his friend and what they're doing. That's who.
Excuse me. This is my time. I'm reclaiming my time. Fake Jake Tapper, hack journalist, 100%. Buffoonish nature. They all come in the high 60s to start, especially if you're like a non-Fox News journalist. Even some of them come in the high 60s to start off with. I'm going to give him a 72, right? He has a long track record of being an idiot. He's not as bad as some of the other folks over on CNN, but this story is a pretty big story that was kind of missed by everybody in the media, right?
Okay.
So,
you know what? You're restoring my faith a little bit. I appreciate
thank you.
The honest score.
Well, I think you'll like this next one even more, right? For the magnitude of this guy, and I don't want to steal your thunder on your closing argument. You can steal this if you want. I really do think Joe Biden's mental decline was possibly the biggest story of our lifetime that was not covered properly, right? And not only not covered properly, but covered up by guys like Jake Tapper, who's now trying to make money off of this whole thing in a book, which he has no standing to do. So I think, it was worse than when Elizabeth Warren got called out for this same exact thing. She's an elected official. She's a politician. I sort of get it. But someone who masquerades as a journalist on national television, there's really no excuse. So I'm going to 11 giga sharpens for this guy.
All right. Look, I'm super okay with both those scores, and I appreciate you not letting your anger overcome your reason. like you were earlier. And yeah, I'll live with those scores. It's now time for our final please. We're going to grovel, beg, bribe, steal for you, whatever we need to do in order to earn your vote. Mr. Galloway goes first.
Excellent. All right, so full disclosure here, folks. Gene got me involved in a group long ago that actually gave Jake Tapper an award for excellence in journalism. I believe it was called Blog Bash back in 2014. Right now he's turning on this guy. Gene bashed a good man named George Santos for months about things that he supposedly did months ago or years ago, right? And now he's claiming that that's out of bounds now. Okay, cool. First of all, let me just tell you this, Gene. I mentioned this during my time to speak earlier. The numbers are irrelevant. I'm giving the people what they want. And what they want is this nominee this week. I guarantee it. I am going to be the first person to win with a 0 score in the queue. I guarantee that. And I'm going to close with this, Gene. Folks, let it be known that today on this show, Gene has defended people like P. Diddy, Weinstein, and Jeffrey Epstein. That's the kind of man that you're going to vote for? Yeah, talk me out. I'm ready to vomit.
First, I need to apologize to our audience. I let my emotions get the better of me. I clearly went off the handle. But that's because I care about Buffoonology 101. I care about this pseudoscience that we've been developing together. Even if my best friend and now my mortal enemy has to come in and destroy it, I must stand up to defend it. That's what it's all about. We can't allow a buffoon that did nothing win Buffoon of the Week. It just can't happen. What we can do is vote for someone that actually, according to my opponent here, actually is a high bun score and a Sharpton-esque magnitude score. Actually did something to earn the nomination. So please join me. And if you vote for me and can show it, I'll let you use code FRAUD to get 10% off in the store. And by the way, that code will be up right after the show.
Wow.
Take that, Galloway.
Bribery.
I'm getting them in the pocketbooks.
I might nominate you next week.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between, the polls are officially open. Tell us who you got for Buffoon of the Week. And if you end up voting for that other buffoon over there, I'm going to take it as an ironic vote and not you hating on what we're creating here. And that's really all it comes down to here. Man, vote now. We'll see you guys later. You're the worst. The worst. The absolute worst. Why do I even do things with you?
Gene, I'm telling you, people are just going to click on it. They're going to be pissed off. They hate him, and they're just going to click.